Welcome, everyone. My name is Javi Calderon. I'm part of the marketing team here at Real Magnet, and I'd like to thank all of you who are joining us here today for our web presentation titled Creating Content in Real Magnet. Given that we have so many people taking part,
the particular zones that we have, if you want to edit or write images, or you want to see code view of that message, that is all permission-based, okay? So some of you may not see this in the screen when you go to account management because you may not have the permission called view edit permission. But again, it's a way that just to manage this new editor, because it is indeed so powerful and a lot of flexibility here. We just wanted to have that option for you. If you wanted to kind of control it and manage it, you can. Otherwise, you can make everybody admin if you like. But that's just an FYI. So those are permissions as it relates to the new editor. There is some thought process to that. So what about this responsive design? So I'm going to talk to you first. Number one, this is going to be kind of an overview of responsive design, okay? I want you to be aware of the fact that in a few weeks we're going to have another webinar that with our designers, they're going to talk more in depth about responsive design, RD. This is taking this, working in the RD template, providing you best practices and tips and so forth, okay? You know, this really is a buzzword. You know, I've heard it, I've been hearing it now really a lot lately last year. Our mugget came up at our user group conference, responsive design. Everybody wants their templates to be RD applied, but does anybody really know what it is? And all those different devices that we view our emails on, whether it is on the PC, a Mac, is it on a tablet, is it on a mobile device? And basically what this is, it's a type of a special set of cascade style sheets, or CSS special. Why is it special? It's because it has dynamic rules applied to it. It has something where I can go in and stack the columns. Depending if it's on my PC, it looks great. But if I'm on a mobile device, the images will automatically and fluidly, seamlessly stack with the content. It increases the font sizes and everything. So again, it's that responsive design is something that is something that optimizes the view of this particular communication, which is great. But when you're doing this, and you have you're creating a message in Real Magnet, it's really important. In fact, this is a fail-safe for any type of message that you create. Put the most important information on top, your call to action on top. You want to keep your message simple, okay? Especially when it comes if you're using RD. Chunks of info as opposed to this lengthy, long, newsletter kind of message, because a lot of times you have to consider the mobile users, the people who are indeed reading your messages on mobile devices. They're not going to feel like scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. So think of it as keep it as simple as possible, chunks of info, as opposed to that long, lengthy, kind of like newsletter. Big thing with responsive design is indeed the images. We're going to tell you in those RD templates not to exceed a certain width, and that's really important. And you don't want it underneath a certain width either. You don't want it to be smaller. I'm going to show you why in preview examples what happens if the image is too small. So keep to the width for proper rendering for all these different devices out there. Okay, so keep all this in mind as you're creating your message. But you know what? It serves a purpose to say this as well, to arm you with the knowledge of this. This is not like the end-all be-all responsive design. Arm yourself with the knowledge that not all email clients are fair. What do you mean? Let's take our friend Outlook. We know Outlook well, and some of the things that as email marketers trying to present that best rendered email image as possible. Outlook doesn't necessarily honor responsive design, okay? And you just need to know that. It just doesn't, so keep that in mind if you're creating your messages. Will it in other devices? Yes, it will. But just something that, you should be aware of. It's just not the end-all, be-all of everything. But if you really want to optimize the user end experience in reading your email, make the template responsive design. It won't have any impact if Outlook doesn't stack the images in the iPhone. But again, it's just something to be aware of. So that's responsive design. So you know what? Message time. Let's go in. Enough talking, enough PowerPoint slides, right? Let's go in. Log into Real Magnet. Messages are where on the Messages tab. Makes sense to me. The layout of messages, we have the grids right here. Keep in mind 2 sections. New messages go here. All the existing ones go here as well, allowing me the opportunity to do what? To edit, to copy this, to do save as, right? deleting a message, which, by the way, if you delete it, you think it's a good idea, not necessarily. You can delete the tracking for that as well as previewing. And did you know this minus plus little icon here allows me to see different, include different, items as it corresponds to the message if I wanted to do that, and hit submit. Okay, and then it's our search functionality. If you make changes on this, don't forget the way to log out in Real Magnet is not necessarily the red X, the log out in the upper right corner. Okay, so to create a message, I'm going to go here and create a message name. No one sees it on the outside. This is just something that we do as we create a message. So having said that, I'll put today's date and hit go. When I hit go, I get the template page, and all this is very common for a new message. And you'll have your templates here that you've added here, maybe from template library. It could be custom templates that we created. It might be the blank one, the blank canvas one I mentioned. But I want you to focus on the left where it says template library. Okay, easy enough. Click on that. And what's going to happen is, for those who are existing base clients, you're going to see a toggle here. It says, yep, I got that. These are from the older editor, Active Preview. For those who are new, you'll get this right here, switch over today automatically. But for me, I'm going to click on switch over today because this is the new editor right here. How do I know, Kat? It will say here because I have the responsive templates. So these right here, while we have different templates here that you can utilize, these responsive you can utilize as well. And this is what we're going to use today. And we have different type of layouts, if you will. One column, left aligned image, responsive right aligned image, and all these we can preview and so forth. But a lot of these messages right here, like we created earlier today, again, if I go here and I reduce this right here, this will make it responsive design. What's going to happen is I get smaller, watch what happens, it stacks. And that's what responsive design is. Okay, then bring it back to the full screen. There she is. Okay. So let's go back to the editor, and let's pick one. Let's do responsive one column. I'm going to select it. Great. As I select it, this is the new editor. For those who are new to the new editor, welcome. Again, this is about a year old, and it's probably the best editor I have ever worked in, and I've been in email marketing over 10 years. And yes, it's all a little bit quirky, but once you get used to it, it's really, I think, very easy to use. We're in message edit view, upper left corner. This is the name of my message. Okay. This is your left navigation bar with 3 different functionality, if you will. This menu allows me to preview this. I'm personalizing it, send myself a copy. If I have the ability to create templates, I can go access it right here. Zones. Yep, this is the way to create the message. I want to add columns, add a WYSIWYG, and so forth. And we have custom zones here as well that I'm going to show you that I really, really like. Design element is the colors. Or if I want to go in here and add a particular width or border or put padding around this, I can do that as well. Okay, so those are 3 key things that we're going to cover today. Moving over to the right, we have the HTML version. In an email, in Real Magnet, you will do this first, the HTML version. Once you have that completed, plain text, and then mobile web version. Okay, and we're going to talk about the mobile web version because this is not necessarily responsive design. This is something that I access to the web version link on top of the email. And we can tell if it's coming from a PC or a mobile device, and this is a good backup to have because it will just automatically, it will just make it a 1-column email. Very good. Now, going back to the email designer, we're also going to see my favorite, the universal undo redo buttons. Love that. So if I make a mistake or if I have to update something or redo something, I can do that very easily. Your tutorials are right here as well for the new editor that you can access as well. So let's go into zones and let's start creating here. Let's look at this for a minute. We can see this image right here. And when I click on this, I'm going to edit this. Okay, and this is an image, obviously. It's telling me it's 650. Okay, what I can do is click on Browse. I want to upload an image. I'm going to show you something. If I choose an image that's too small, let's just say, okay, and I hit Insert, notice that with the image directory, it always tells me the width. It should be 650 because of responsive design, but it looks a little bit smaller than 650 for sure. But I want to show if I insert it, hey, that looks okay, right? I look in the preview, back to menu here to the left. there's a preview. It looks fine, Cat, but what happens if I, again, reduce this? What if I go in, excuse me, I go here and I just want to, if I can do that, allow me to do that. When I go here, watch this. Watch. Look what happens. The image is too small. So if I'm on a device, a mobile device, it kind of explodes and then it's blurry. So you always want to make sure where we have that image, 650, because it's based on 650 pixels, the width, that indeed that's the right width. So it looks great. But again, if I collapse it, which is the whole point of RD, it doesn't look right to me. Okay, so it goes back here. Go back to the editor. So maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to go back to edit. Now this will allow you a few things. Okay, the ability to go here if I want to go hit browse. I want to upload an image. You can do so right here, and it goes into your hard drive to find your image. Okay, and it gets uploaded up here in your image directory. Which, by the way, you have settings here for your username. You want to list by thumbnails? Yes, I do. By date, or by name, or by size. You can all have this arranged, customized to you. So I have it by thumbnails. That's great. I'm going to close that. And I have an image right here. Here's a header. Perfect. I'm going to choose that. So if I wanted to edit this, I do have the opportunity to go in and just to show you if I wanted to change the size, or if I needed to change the size, or I wanted to do something that was different, to that particular image, we have what's called Pixlr. Okay? And Pixlr allows me here on the left, down here, to go in and adjust the size. I can crop the image if I wanted to. I can rotate it. I can add some vibrant colors to it. I can write on this. I always show this in my trainings to clients. You need to go in here and just write on the image, join now, register now. And it's really easy to do. It's kind of fun, actually. This one doesn't have much room in this particular image to do that. But if I wanted to, I can do something like, join now. Okay, so it takes the text right there. I drag it up here, make it smaller. Now, of course, I might want to change like the color, right? Because you can't really see it very well. Paint the corner here and make the color down here. Make it red or something, and it works just like that. And again, you wouldn't even do this for all your images, but you have the ability to do that. This is a fantastic tool. It's called Pixlr. The ability to resize images, crop images, do different effects to your images and so forth. But it's a great tool to use. Okay, so I'm just going to close this out. Now, here I can also put like the link for the website, alt tags, you can register now, all of this, and just insert. And it goes right in there, just like that, perfectly. Right, and that's the image. Here's some marketing copy here talking again about responsive templates and what is involved in that. So I'm going to click on this. So when I do, it's a zone. And because it's a zone, guess what I can do to it? I can copy this as well. See that? I can copy it. I can drag it where it's highlighted. I can do so very easily. Click on this again. I can also delete it. Now, the edit button is what we're going to talk about now, because this is where we actually go in and create the content. We can go in and create the links. We go in here and maybe you want to upload an image in this. Maybe you want to, upload hyperlinks or upload a document. So what we're going to do here, really easily, just clear this out. Right? I've got new content in there. And by chance, on our blog, I'm going to actually just copy this right here. Okay, and just copy this. And I'm going back to the editor. And I'm going to paste it in. I just can't paste it in, because if I do, watch this. If I just do Control-V, it's going to say, no, you have to use the pasting buttons, Cat. I say, okay. Now they're up here, 1, 2, 3. Formatting from the web page, plain text, or using a Word doc. I'm going to use this option right here, the paste formatting. And paste that in there, and watch this. There it is. Okay? I click out of this. In this editor, it's auto-saved right there. Okay, if you don't like the auto-save or you're a little nervous about that, in the upper right corner there is a save button as well. Okay, totally get that. So back here, let's go into the actual content again and hit edit. Brings out the WYSIWYG. But what about some of the functionality in this editor that I think the basics that you'll be using for sure? You know what, I'm going to start in the second row. Here's the font style and the size. So you just simply would highlight those words and change the style and the size, which we recommend that you do anyway. There is not a style sheet for this new editor. Certainly, there is, the source of the code view if you have permissions for it. But you do have the ability to go in and just highlight it. If I want to change this for some reason and change this to perhaps a larger size. There it is. It's done. Okay. And if I don't like that, I can just undo that, just like that. Click on the editor again. So style, size, alignment of the content, bold. You know what bold is. Easy. Just bold, highlight it, bold, italics, underline. Colors for the font. Yep, they're still the same. You know, I can go here, for instance, and click on this, choose some of the colors here from the squares, easy enough, or click for more colors and choose some gradient, or just type in the hex decimal number right here and it will pull up that exact color. And that's good too to know if it matches your brand, your logo. Again, keeping it consistent. That's what we like. Here's a source view for this particular zone right here. Okay, if I want to go here because it's a little bit too dark, I have obviously different ways of looking at this edit, but that's the source, and that's right here. And that's the second row. First row, what are some key things that you think you'll be utilizing? How about links? We like links. Why? Send them back to your website. We want to drive traffic back to that. We want people engaged. We want people to click on that link, to view, to open, to read, so we can capture that in tracking, right? That's all what it comes down to. Learn more, read more, open this. And so how would you do that? So maybe I'll do this. Maybe don't read more down here. And I'm going to highlight this. Where are the hyperlinks up here? Right in the first row, right there where it says link. Perfect. Looking for a URL. Let me jump up here to our blog and just copy this whole link right there. Okay, Control C, perfect. Going down here and Control V, paste that link in. Okay. Now I can open look into window. I can make this a different, again, these are the colors that were assigned to the template. You can change that, but right here I'll put the link here, that color. Have Google Analytics applied here from our account, and I hit OK. And there's, oops, that didn't work well. We'll do that again. Not a problem. Watch this. You get to see it again for reinforcement. Go in here and just go paste this in. Open look in the window. This, hopefully. OK, there it is. Read more. Again, capturing number of clicks and who they are in your basic tracking. Good to know. What about if you have a document, a Word document, a PDF more than likely, a form? A lot of times you host it on your website. That's great. Just promote that traffic back to a hyperlink to that page. However, you have the option with Real Magnet to say, you know what? You can go in here and you can say, I want Real Magnet to host this document. Share their bandwidth, as they say. Well, how would that work? Let me go in here and say, view the slides here. Right? And I can just highlight this. Now, would I go back to this link here? Nope. This is for web, web pages, websites. I can go here and go to this document link right here. Super easy. You just go in here, upload it in your, particular file. Okay, maybe from your hard, from your desktop, my documents and so forth, and open it. Once you do, it resides here, and all you have to do is find that document. And maybe we just do here. And there it is. There's the link. And now in tracking, we can see, the clicks on that, and who downloaded, well, not say download, but who clicked on it. Again, that's important intel for you to know and understand. One of the things, too, that I think is powerful, too, of course, is always the ability to personalize. To go in here, your call to action right on top. So maybe I'll say, hello. Your personalization is right here in this silhouette. It'll pull up your standard fields in Real Magnet, any custom or enhanced fields as well. Okay, I can just go in here, put first name in there, pretty standard. I insert it. And by the way, I can guarantee it won't say that. Just kind of give you perspective here. I will guarantee you it will say something that whenever the first name is associated with that email address, that's what we'll insert. Hello, Jonathan. Hello, John. Hello, Jay. Whatever you have for that first name for that email address, like a mail merge, will be inserted there. And by the way, use it all over your message if it makes sense to personalize it, to customize it, if you will. And don't be shy. Use this in the subject line, too. Exact same context, the caps underscore first underscore name, do that, and that will pull in that first name that you associated with the actual email address. Okay, if you want to edit more, say, welcome to your newsletter. Something clever like that. Okay, and just an exclamation mark. There you go. Perfect. All right, so going back to edit. just to finish this out. You will use it for the following reasons. If you want to do any changing of the style or size or color of the font or alignments. Links, yes. Hyperlinks, absolutely. Personalization, optional. I think you should use it, and far more effective when you use it consistently. Use it one time and you say, the tracking wasn't that great, Kat. It's about being consistent, and people saying, yeah, they do know me. They know my name, they know my, where I live, or they know my job title, the company that I work for. Again, you have the option here for documents. If you want to host your own documents and lead them to that page, fantastic. If you want us to share that with you, you can with this option. With images, with documents, there is no time period. You can have as many as you like, uploaded. The only thing I would, just as a recommendation, the naming of them cannot have any spaces or dashes, okay, or special characters. Underscores, A-OK. Okay, just keep that in mind as well. These two icons, FYI, or if you use our events module or survey modules, we'll be inserting those as links. Also, too, in fairness, is the image directory. Yeah, we saw the image itself, in the header, but also you can always go in here and say, you know what, I want to, put an image in here, and maybe that one that we selected before, I want to use that one, and select it. And now here, I want to do left align it, and maybe put some spacing in here, maybe 5 pixels. Again, this is just around the content itself, and hit insert. And there it is, kind of wraps around it. See? So you did so far, it looks fantastic. Let's go back to the zones real quick, because there are other things that you can do. I love this. When I first saw this, I was like, this is amazing. So I could take a one section and make a particular part of it 2 sections. Again, just going in, putting a WYSIWYG in here if I wanted to, another or image right here if I wanted to. But watch this. When I click on this, excuse me, now that it changes out, it feels like there's the cursor error, but when I go here and I drag this over, I can do that. I can do it, by that kind of workflow, dragging it, or I can go here when I click on it, the exact width by pixels right here, if I choose to do that. Again, it changes the whole look and feel. We'll keep it RD and so forth, but it's something I just want you to be aware of, that you can have that option to do. Okay. Another option that I'm going to show you now is the ability to social share this particular email. And what this means is that it's not your page per se. It's the ability, if I wanted to share on top to share this, if I wanted to say, we're just going to have the ability for people to share this email on their Facebook wall and post it, or they want to tweet it, I can do so. I'm going to choose this icon. You don't have to do a thing to it. Our tracking captures, hey, Kat Curtin posted on the Facebook. They'll know it's me who posted it, and they'll know how many views I had or how many tweets I had. Interesting. But again, that's optional. If an RSS feed that you want to just include in the message, you can do so as well. Dynamic content is like personalizing. It's more of our advanced features, but it customizes content to the recipient, not just a field like the first name or job title. It's like, this is where you live, so I'm going to post all the events in your area, how it relates to a particular topic or career or so forth, making it relevant, customizing content, so it's beyond just personalizing a field. And of course, the ability to post share articles. You have the ability, instead of sharing the entire email, I can go in here and say, you know what, I just want to post, I want to make this one article, the ability to just post it on this Facebook wall if the recipient wants to, or tweet it and so forth. So you have the option here to do an article or the entire email to share it socially, which I think is very, very powerful. This post share article has another function too. It will actually, the ability, if you use this, the ability to add it as a SWIN feature, we call it SWIN, by the way, share with your network, or publish this as well. When I'm publishing and send this email out, I have the ability to tweet this out too. And it actually will create a Twitter card, and you have the option to send it out with the email or different intervals. And I think that's really powerful if you're trying to position, don't forget to register, that kind of thing. So this tweet can be very, I think, powerful. Again, this kind of training, Sam, your account manager, can cover with you as well. But you do have that flexibility to use the social elements in this. Another thing that I really like in this template library, is these custom zones. Look, I want to add more, and again, it's all responsive design. I just want to go in here and just add another article. There it is. I can just add it. Another thing too is down here, I can go here and do the physical address and social media and just add that right there. Of course, that's redundant, but did you know that was there? I'll delete this. I can also do this as well. Go back to zones and do something here called, I think, social sharing. I think it's a little bit different. Yeah, look at that. And in here, you just go in here and you edit this, and you click on this, and you link it. You link it to your Facebook page, okay? And here is the social, the share this. So again, maybe I wouldn't have this on top. I'm going to delete this. I don't want it redundant. I'm down here, and now I have this nice footer right here. Again, you can edit this and put your address in here. This is the sharing ability. This is your pages you're promoting. If you don't have a YouTube account, you can delete it. Just delete it, okay? Delete it. Again, this template library with this RD element is, I think, fantastic. And then you can do a save as from this and so on. I think it's just a great, smart option to utilize. All right, so again, we have these different options here that you can drag in. How about design elements? Could you add new colors to this? You could. You go in here and just simply by going and clicking on the square here, we, again, people like me, non-graphic people, can go in, just click on the color and square in the particular box in the blues, or to have the exact, hexadecimal or RGB, just plug it in, okay, and that will match that color right there. I can put blue, and I can just put blue. I can put like other if I want to. I'm not sure where I'd put this. Call this training. Thank you, Kat. I hit save. And watch this, in different elements, I can go in here. If I click on like this particular one here, and I want just to highlight this, I can put the blue color in there. See how you do that? You can just, so then what I highlight, you can highlight with color. And these are called themes. So again, related back to permissions, an admin person can create themes and share it with the end users. A personal permission says I can create it, but I can't share it. You won't see it. And then restricted means I can't do colors. It's kind of decided for me what I'm going to use. And of course, under the theme of consistency and branding, a lot of people, of our clients, like that. We'll decide the color and themes. Thank you. You just put the content in. So that's all options you can use. In particular, I don't really like this, so I can just go ahead and just delete that. That's the message. That is using this new editor, dragging in the zones, whether the column sections. If it's on the fly, you want to do that. Great. If you don't, you change your mind, just delete it. Okay. Those custom zones are helpful because again, they're related towards responsive design with the exact pixel width. Another thing too, I want to point out, as you are completing this, a couple of things to do. Anytime that you're working on this, you can send yourself a copy. Remember that? Send a message to the individual. This allows me to do what? It allows me that I can send a copy of the email as many times as I need to, which is good for testing purposes. Just put in your email address, use the ad hoc list that you create under the Tools tab. This could be your seed list that you can create to people internally there you want to send an email to for their feedback from field, subject line, the pre-header text. Again, this is a relatively new feature we have at Real Magnet. This is something that you have to ask to be activated. You do not have to use it. If you have some messages, you don't, but it's a nice area so it goes beyond the subject line. You can send the subject line. You can do your call to action there. It's up to 75 characters. You can do that pre-header text. Okay. So you send yourself a copy. Perfect. I'm going to go back to the editor. You always know, again, previews are great. Previews are helpful, and of course, in my opinion. But again, if I go here and I reduce this, it should technically stack, except for that one right there where it says best. But here, you can see all this right here. And doing so, I want to give you a couple of examples that are different too, that some of my colleagues created for me. This is, again, a message that is going to be able to stack and then go in here. I love that picture, first day of school. See how it does that? All these different types of templates we had for responsive design and just utilizing it. It's just, a great thing to utilize. Sorry about that. Bring it back here. Another option we have is right here, just showing you different look and feel. There is Matt. He was great at our user group conference. He was really inspiring. He really just, after hearing him, I just wanted great emails after listening. But again, just stacks. And I think one more example here that we saw earlier. Again, these are all just using those templates that we had in the template library. Those are complimentary for you to use. So why not try it out, test it, and so forth? I think it's a great idea. Go back to the editor. So once you sent yourself a copy and it looks good, and you kind of maybe test it on your mobile devices, you might have done deliverability testing. Don't forget, you still need to do the plain text version. Okay, that is required of when you send to a group. When you send an individual, we're going to remind you that your text message hasn't been saved. That's important. You know why it's important? Because we have that multi-MIME messaging. Not everyone receives an HTML version. We have to have both versions ready to go when you send to group. We pull in the content, but if you note, look, it says message title. Now we updated that to say hello, welcome, first name, remember? So every time, what I recommend, just hit refresh, hit OK. And there it is. It brings in the content from the HTML. Yes, you can personalize plain text. I can add content here, take away content. It will not impact my HTML version. Mobile web version. So what is this? This is that link, like I said earlier in the webinar, top of the email that you control under the Tools tab. It says click here, to view online version or mobile version, or however you want to word it. Remember what web version is? That's so they click on the link, goes to a web page, sees the HTML version of the email very nicely. And that's very beneficial for some people who have inbox issues, that can't download images where they work. They can go to that link and they can see it. Fantastic. But we also have it so the way the technology is created, if it's that click and that link is coming from a mobile device, we're going to see if you have a mobile web version saved. I'm going to hit refresh, and there it is. Okay, and there it is. So I'm going to save it. So they would see this. This is kind of a backup. Yes, they're an RD template. You're absolutely right. But if they click on that link, they'll see this. Okay, and all it does, it resizes the images, but also, just makes it a one column. It's not collapsible or anything like that. Before responsive design is collapsible. It's fluid, the images. Again, I recommend as the best practice to save this. You don't have to do, the content's all pulled in from the HTML version. Okay, so keep that in mind. In Real Magnet, again, if you have the code view, if you have that permission enabled to, you can go and see the code for the actual entire email itself. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the new editor. Using a responsive design template, going in and saying, anytime bringing in the zone, a WYSIWYG, again, if you have that flexibility to go in, I want to put an image somewhere, I can do that too. Anytime you have that flexibility. But what's nice about this template is that it's RD applied, responsive design applied, and adhere to it. Keep in mind with the images, keep in mind that I want to keep the most important part on top. So I want them obviously to to engage in the email, not to scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, and get, like too much information, I can't read it. To read it, right? But that's it for the new editor. So Javi, if you are there, I would appreciate some questions if you have some. We do have some more time for questions, so we'll do our best to answer your questions. If not, just so Javi has suggested, we'll answer your questions one-on-one. So please. Javi? Javi, are you there? The mute button didn't work. Sorry about that.
Got a few questions for you.
Okay. Shoot.
Can you show us again how to access the Pixlr image editor?
Yes. Anytime that I bring in an image here, or I go in the header, you'll see here there's this, abilities for the header, obviously because that's an image, right? But if I go in here, I click on this, and I want to go down here, let's say, and I edit this. There's the ability to go here to the image directory, or if I just want to add an image, just an image zone right here, just right here, I can do that. And when I do, it's always the same image directory, and that's really important to know. I'm glad I remembered that, because for our existing clients, it's like, well, that's a whole new image. Did it keep our current images? And yes, it did. We kept all your images, and that's important to note, because obviously we don't want them to start all over again. You'll note that this is the same image directory for the entire account. It's just displayed differently, okay? So to access Pixlr, I do the following. Let's just say first day of school, bring us back. There it is. You will have the ability, depending on your permissions, to edit as copy, which means I'll take this version of this particular image, and I can just change the dimensions or change the actual image of. Okay. Another permission I have is I have the ability to actually, this copy right here, just resize it so in all the different messages, it's resized to that one image. Overwrite the image. I prefer you use edit as copy because depending what the image is, it just depends, and I would be, if I don't want it to apply to all the messages, because maybe it's supposed to be that intended size. Let's do edit as copy. I provided a new name. There we are. We're access into Pixlr. Okay, and again, these different types of effects I wanted to do it. Unicolor. You can see the different images we can do apply to it, which I didn't show you earlier. Subtle changes, again, it depends, if you just want to use this or not. But what I think and what I've used this most for, here's a creative one. Again, it gets kind of crazy, but but I like it. It's innovative. It might work for one of your messages. I particularly like the adjustment, just because the ability to crop it. I want to just easily crop it. I could just go in here and crop it. And again, if you remember our previous editors or any of the editors that you might have used in your ESP experience, is that while I could size it before, it wasn't consistent because Outlook would say, I'm going to render the original size of that image. So I don't really care that you altered the size of it. This particular image resizing makes it so that it is the original. So if I resize it in this tool, it will be resized in all email clients, okay? And that's really important because Outlook has its rules, and it's one of those rules is I only display original sizes, and this will allow me to do that right here by that resize component and say, you know what, I think I want it 140. And obviously I can't really enlarge this because if I do, I'll probably get, because it's small to begin with, it's going to get blurry. And again, I can just save it, and that's how you access that. So yes, a long-winded answer to a great question, but there's different ways of approaching it through that image icon right here, the WYSIWYG editor, and or through the image header. Okay?
Yep. Thank you, Kat. Can you quickly show us how to change the padding in one of our zones in this message that you've created?
Sure. So what did he mean by that, do you think? When he said like zone, what did he mean by that? Well, we have this ability, when I click on a zone, okay, or let's do this one better. Click on this zone. You'll note here it always goes to design elements. In here is padding. I can put padding in here, and I don't have to know HTML code. I can go in here and watch this. If I apply, specific, I want to go watch the top now. Okay, I'm going to add some more spacing on there. See that? If I want to do the bottom, I can do that as well. And so it gives it the illusion of a little more space. And sometimes as you are creating your content, right here, maybe in the bottom of this zone, I want to just create something more on the bottom. It's all that you're doing. And I do size specific because it's just like I don't want to do it all over. I want to increase it. There it is. It's being increased right now. Click out of it. So the padding is very easy to use. I know a lot of our converted users that are now using New Editor, they love that because a lot of times you just put in a particular function, and I think of this top of my head like the swim feature right here. A lot of times if I do this, let's just say, and I put it on the right, let's just say, and insert it, I'm going to put some little padding on that because it's just too close. It's just too close to the top. So I'm going to go here to the top, a little buffer, and also on the bottom as well. Click out of it. There you go. So that's a very handy tool to use.
Kat, could you remind us the best practices for the width of our emails?
Mm-hmm. So that's a great question. I'll tell you why. In the template library, there are 650 because that's what we have, the template library. Why? Because in the preview, if you picture, envision, if you will, Outlook preview pane, I want that email front and center. If I make it too wide, then the recipient might just have to scroll over to read it. And trust me, they don't have the time to scroll over to read it. They want whatever that CTA, that call to action is, front and center to read it. I think it's a very manageable and it's a successful width. But having said that, with the new editor, and for those who have admin permissions, you can create templates and you can customize your own width. You say, Kat, we never do 650, we do 700 and we love it. But we love 600. Okay, great. You have that ability, but in a template library, they are hard-coded for 650 pixels, so just keep that in mind.
All right, I kind of have a very good question here. What does it mean if I can't see responsive templates in my template library, and what do I need to do?
What does it mean? It's kind of the Buddha question. What does it mean? You know, a couple of things. It could mean that when you logged in, you don't have the new editor enabled in your account, number one. Number two, if you remember, and I'll start fresh here, we'll create a new message. Okay, so go here. And I'll just call it 3. Remember, I had to go here for existing clients. Okay, template library. And because we have still the existing editor, because I'm in the training account, I have the existing editor, the active preview. Well, I had to go up here to switch over today. So I don't see responsive design here. Okay, so this is for the existing editor. Once you have the new editor enabled for your account, you're going to see a link here. Say switch over today, ta-da, and there is responsive. So it just probably means that the new editor has not been enabled for your account. Now, how do you go about doing that? Remember, I would contact either your account manager or support team, because remember, there was those permissions that we have to think about who gets to do what. Sometimes it's not an issue, but for many of my clients, it's not that it's an issue, it's just something that we just have to resolve and say, well, who does have admin permission, who should be restricted for usernames and so forth. But definitely, it is something that is available right now, so if you don't have it, please enable it. What else, Hobby? We got time, so if there are more questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I have a great question here as well. Can an administrator create preset color schemes for users?
Okay, great. So what Hobby's asking is relating back to the themes, the colors. You know, colors to you, themes to Real Magnet. So what does that mean? It means when we go in, if you're an admin person, you have the ability to add a new theme, to go in here and add different colors, okay? I'm sorry, what was the question again, Javi? If they could do what with the themes? If they could share it?
If they can create preset themes for their users to utilize.
Yes, 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 yes. Great. What I would do here, well, first of all, you're admin, quote unquote, let's say. Okay, I'm an admin, you know, person for the new editor. Giving you lots of different permissions and rights. One of them is to go in and create a new theme, and I can go in, give it a new name, and that will be, you know, shared along with everyone else for this template, so they should see it. So yes, you can create themes, different themes for your end users to see, so they can choose. Obviously, you know, depending on the type of communication, there might be different color themes, and you incorporate, and that's great, and that's something that you can set up as admin and then share.
Is there a way to lock those themes so the user can only use those themes?
Yes. That gets into the template process, though, and I don't know, again, that's its own separate webinar. In the template level, real quick, as admin, you'll see templates here. Where I can actually go in to a template. I can go in and create one real quick. Hang tight, and hit go, and there it is. I'm going to edit this. There's a lot of things to the template, though. You need training on this. Even though it uses the same tool as a new editor, there's nuances, you know, like publishing it and making it live, so I don't have end users working on it while I'm editing it. Again, we default to 650, but here is your ability to change that width, right? So I can just go in here, I'll make it okay, 650. Then I can go in and, again, create, just real quick, bear with me, an image, hit browse. This is the header, right? So we'll use that same one. And then I can link it to the website, alt tags, so forth, insert it. And then I can go down here, maybe put a column section in here. And maybe this might be a one column, right? And I want to do a WYSIWYG. What's this going to be? You know what? This is going to be a date field. I'll just put date field. Again, it's a template, not a message. So maybe I'll just do this right here, line right. Bear with me as I'm going to show you what's next. I'm going to add a WYSIWYG component right here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that content we had before. I'm just going to copy the same thing. Brilliant. Just to show you how this works. And maybe obviously I wouldn't want the content in here for them, but I want to go in here and and apply this. Yep, thank you. We'll do this and hit OK. All right, done. Now, that being said, this is where the training's going to come in. Either the account manager is going to do it with, or a designer, but we can bypass edit restrictions, which will allow you, when I click on this, look at this to the left now, the ability to not allow them to drag or copy this zone. I can remove the ability for them to change the font selection or font size. So what does that mean? When I go in here and I edit this, and I click on Edit, oops, I know what I did. So when I click on this, I go up here and I activate this. Well, it should be activated. Again, there are ways to do this. This is training how to do this, but please, for the clients, contact your account manager or customer support, and we'll walk you through how to do this because it's very important. Again, this is just kind of using the new editor. What's nice about this, it uses the same tools as to create messages, so there's seamless there for transfer knowledge, but there are nuances in like applying those special things that you want them to limit them on as far as changing the font style or even not even allowing to use the editor and so forth. So that was a great question and does pause for for further information for sure. Thanks, Avi.
Absolutely.
One more question.
I got it. All right. I got an easy one. Is the new editor compatible with any browser?
Great question. I love that question, but you know what? I love all questions. So you bring on the the more difficult ones, and you bring on the simplistic ones, because all of them are great questions. Because without Chrome, Firefox, Safari, IE, yes, it is compatible in all browsers. But here's a tip. Ready for a tip? A lot of our clients, I love Chrome. I've got a crush on Chrome, let's say. I use Chrome a lot. Firefox too. IE is fine, but a lot of our clients use Internet Explorer, and that's fine. But here's a tip in using this, and any HTML editor for that matter, is compatibility view setting. How many of you have heard of that before? Up in the tools, not in Real Magnet, okay, we're in IE, Internet Explorer. In the tools, you're going to see something called compatibility view settings. This is a suggestion for you to use. Go in here and add, like I did here, magnetmail.net. So I just go in here and add magnet mail. Details already there. I'm just walking you through. Okay? That, and I add it. And what happens is it gets added here. I choose the third box, and that just allows a highly more optimal user and experience when you're creating your messages if you use Internet Explorer. I do not have to do that for Firefox or for Chrome. It's just something to do with the WYSIWYG editors and IE. Okay, security settings and so forth. So if you do that, that will be more optimal as well. But to answer the question, yes, we are compatible in all browsers. That was the entire point when we created this, that, given the technology, given how much it changes, updates in Firefox. How many times do we have updates in Firefox? It happens like every 2 days. But yes, the editor is compatible.
And we only have about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to ask you one last question.
Okay.
How do I set up an ad hoc list?
Oh, great. How do you do that? That's a good question. Ad hoc lists are like what I consider your seed list. A lot of times people want to go in here in the Contacts tab and create your seed list this way, but don't. You say, why, Kat? Because the group element is going to be applied, or that group configuration. Because when you send to group, remember when you send to group, add your training or not, when I send to group, I can only send that message one time. It's a single send to that recipient. I cannot, by default, send that same message again to that recipient. And when you're in testing mode, that's probably not ideal, because they'll kind of be like, hey, Kat, fix that typo, put the picture over here on the right side instead of the left side, that kind of stuff. So it's always ideal to send email to individual, because it's configured to send that message as many times as I want to. He asked a really good question. He said, how do I create this ad hoc list? This is where this is located, is in the Tools tab. Again, you can have as many as you want, different email addresses and so forth for the account. Under Account Management, I go here to Manage Ad Hoc List, and I go in and I create this. I go in, I call it whatever I want. How about training? Okay, that's original. We love it. Select it. We hit Go. Oh, white box. What's in that white box? The email addresses. So I might put my email address in there, right? I might put Hobby's email address in there. I might put different email addresses in there. It just depends. You have that option. Okay. do it like that. Just put 2 in, make it simple. Okay, now it's created. So let's go back real quick. Under the Send tab or the Messages tab, it doesn't matter because you both have the option there to go in and click on Send an Individual under Menu. Ta-da! And go in here, and there's the ad hoc list. Okay, and I'm going to find that, select Training, and watch this. Just pre-fills it in for me. I love that. It saves me time. I don't have to do, I don't have to mess with typing everyone's email address in. It will also save you time too when you send to the group. You say, why, Kat? I said, when I send to the group, you're going to see in this first field right here, I'm going to send to people in the group, obviously, that I select, right? And those, obviously, if they opted out or suppress, I'm not going to send to, or if they received the message before. But let's just say you send to the group, and you're like, Kat, I definitely want to copy the email when it goes out, formally to my members or to my clients. I absolutely do. That first field, you make sure that your email address is in there. So it's nice that the ad hoc link is right there. So I can just go in who I sent the test copies to as individual. I can send those group right there as well. And just, carry on with the from field subject line. That, Javi, is how you create a ad hoc list. Loving the questions, by the way. Loving the questions. So do we have time for one more?
Well, Kat, I think we're right up against our 3 p.m. limit here. So thank you so much for your time and for all the useful information. And thank everyone for joining us today. We hope you learned a lot from Kat's presentation. If we did not get to your question, we will follow up with you individually. I also know that we only touched very briefly on responsive design today. If you're interested in learning more on the topic, we will be hosting a deep dive into responsive with members of our design team on Tuesday, December 9th. The presentation will be titled Redesigning for Mobile, What Email Marketers Need to Know, and we will definitely be including details and links to that webinar in the follow-up email to Kat's presentation today. So you guys will all be getting details for that presentation coming up on December 9th as well.
Hey, that's great, Javi. I just want to interject here. In 7 days from now, hopefully we'll be just joining, eating, watching football, or having a day off, which would be great. So we at Real Magnet want to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving. I think of it as a day of a celebration of carbohydrates, where I just, this girl goes crazy over stuffing and mashed potatoes. I can't have enough, but we do want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And thank you so much again. We value you as a client, and hope you have a nice day off. For all of us, we will be closed on Thursday and Friday of next week. For any emergencies, you can always contact our support team through email or phone number. We will have, obviously, support, backup support for all of you if needed. But other than that, just thank you. And then any questions from the webinar, again, Javi, to your point, just contact our support team and or your account manager. We're here to help you. These are important things we talked about today, especially that template training. You need it because there are some nuances that we want you to know. But I guess that's about it, right? Just, Javi, is there anything in that webinar where it goes deep dive in responsive design, I think would be highly valuable for you to attend. So we hope you got something out of this. The recording of this will be sent. Javi, you'll send that out, right?
Yes, it will be sent by the end of the week to everybody in attendance and everybody who registered.
All right, you rock, Javi. Thank you so much. You're an awesome co-host, and thank you, everybody, for attending, and have a great Thursday.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Okay, take care.